What is feedback? Feedback definition. Feedback can be defined as the process of communicating information about performance or behavior that leads to an action for improvement. Here's the importance of feedback. Communication is a two-way exchange of thoughts. Feedback is an integral part of this process. For the communication to be effective, you have to be aware of the impact of your words and actions on others. In personal as well as a professional life, interpersonal skills are critical in developing healthy relationships. The ability to provide effective feedback is an important aspect of interpersonal skills. This strength differentiates the successful managers from the also-rans. Managers who provide constructive feedback successfully motivate and develop their staff. Others struggle in their people management. Coach and advise their subordinates to blossom. Others not only drift themselves but lead their subordinates nowhere. Mentor people to realize their potential. The rest stifle others' talents. Let's look at constructive feedback versus destructive feedback. Now, feedback can either be positive, reinforcing good performance and behaviors, or negative, correcting and improving poor performance and behaviors. Now, the purpose of both is to motivate the individual to perform better, improve himself and the organization. So, both the positive and the negative types of feedback must be constructive. If not, there are two problems. There is no recognition or affirmation of good performance. Negative feedback will become destructive criticism. In both the cases, the employee will lose his motivation and his commitment. Destructive feedback is vague and does not indicate any areas of improvement. For example, telling someone, "I don't like your attitude," is destructive criticism. Never ever start your feedback negatively, commenting upon the person's attitude or behavior. This would put him on the defensive, and the discussions would be at a dead end. Gently start with the areas where he has fallen short and lead the discussion to indicate the behavioral patterns that caused the underperformance. When does destructive criticism occur? When good performance is never appreciated and feedback is given only when things go wrong. When there are no agreed standards of measuring performance or behavior. When there is no dialogue about the performance. When there are no set plans for employee development. Let's look at the purpose of feedback. Feedback provides information about a behavior and performance against standards in such a way that the recipients maintain a positive attitude towards themselves and their work. It encourages the recipients to commit themselves to a personal plan to move towards agreed standards of behavior and performance. When to give feedback? Strike while the iron is hot. Time your feedback close to the occurrence of the events you are reviewing. Take into account your ability to deliver constructive feedback. Take into account the recipient's ability to handle the feedback. Where to give feedback? The where of giving feedback is perhaps obvious in the workplace. It is generally best to seek a quiet room where you will not be overheard or interrupted. Here are the barriers to giving and receiving feedback. If there are no well-defined and accepted job definition and objectives for the job function, feedback can come as a shock or a surprise. When the employee and the supervisor do not share the same perception of what the functions are. Strained personal relationships between the employee and the supervisor. If the feedback is not communicated with a listening mind, the recipient would perceive it as criticism.